We found the old railway station plans from 1896. They are so cool and they're really going to help with what we want to do with the restoration. Take a look. To say that we found the original plans of the old station is a little bit of an exaggeration. We've been looking for these plans for around 9 months. We contacted our local archives, we've been to different railway societies to see what they have. We've also been to different railway museums to take a look around, which was so much fun, but also see what they had there and see if they had any original plans of old stations in the museums. And we haven't been able to find them, so we'd almost given up finding them, thinking that they just weren't there, and then one of our subscribers found them for us. So some of you who've watched the channel for a while will know that Julian from the YouTube channel Station Road is building a model railway, and as part of his railway he's going to build the old station. And as part of his research he looked into if he could find any information out about the old station, and he contacted the National Archive, which we hadn't contacted, and they actually had the original plans there. So this is so amazing, and we are so grateful to Julian for finding these for us. The plans have got detail about what the building was originally like, but also really importantly for us, it's got detail about the doors and the windows and what they were like, so we can replace those as close to the original as possible. So we're really excited about this. So let's have a look at the plans. There are 3 sheets of plans for the old station. They're all hand drawn and there's a good amount of detail on them. I'm going to start with the one that's the most detailed and gives us a lot of information about what the original building would have looked like. You can see that the plans say plan of stations. That's because there were 3 railway station buildings that used the same plans on this line. The old station is the only building that's left. The other 2 stations have been knocked down. That's such a shame. I bet there's so many people who would love to change those other buildings into homes. The measurements on this plan are of course in feet and inches, which were used back then. This plan shows the front elevation, or the road elevation as it's called here, the platform elevation, both sides of the building, the inside layout and the roof. There's a few really exciting things on this plan. Let's look at the inside first. On these floor plans, the front of the station is at the top of the screen and the back of the station that leads out onto the platform is at the bottom of the screen. These floor plans are similar to the layout of the station as it is now, but there are some differences. On the old plans we can see the central booking hall. It's got entrances on both sides, one from the road and then the other out onto the platform. About a third of this room was separated in the 1980s, putting a bathroom and a corridor and stairs at the front of the old station. There's still a wall that separates the front of this room from the back of the room, but we intend to knock that down to really open this room back up. On the left of the booking hall is a ladies' waiting room and ladies' toilet, and a porter's room and men's toilets. The ladies can stay in the warm and access their toilet from the inside, but the men have to go outside to access theirs. The wall between the porter's room and the men's toilets is now completely gone. That's one big room. When we bought the station, it was a kitchen. The old entrance to the men's toilets was a back door leading out to the outbuildings. It looks like the porter's room would have had a fireplace in it. There's no fire there now, it's all boarded up, but it's great to know we could put a fire in there if we wanted to. The toilet in the ladies' room has also been knocked out to make one big room. The fireplace in the ladies' room is still there and we're definitely going to leave that in. Back in the booking hall, what you can see is a huge fireplace at one end. This would have heated the entire room, and we're hoping to reinstate a big fire here when we open the room back up. It's amazing to see that this used to be one big booking hall. I really can't wait to open this room up and really see what it looks like without that wall in place. On the right of the booking hall is a station master's room, a booking clerk's room and a parcels room. We can see here that the station master's room used to be accessed through the booking clerk's room. That's not the case anymore. One of the walls has been moved slightly to fit a door in between the booking hall and the station master's room. We can now walk right into the station master's room from the booking hall, and the door that would have been from the clerk's room has been blocked up. The booking clerk and parcels room is also now one big room. The wall in between the two rooms has been knocked down. From these plans, it looks like that wall was a small partition wall anyway. It doesn't look as thick and robust as the other walls in the station. You can also see there's two fireplaces, one in the station master's room and one in the booking clerk's room. Currently, the fireplace in the booking clerk's room is blocked up. Our plan is to open up this fireplace so we can use it. You can see there would have been 5 fireplaces in the old station altogether. These would have been the main heating source for the entire building. The railway line was used to transport coal, so it probably would have been coal that was burnt in all of these fireplaces. So that's the inside of the station as it used to be. How exciting is it to know exactly what these rooms were used for? Let's move to another section of the plans that gives us some information we didn't know about. This is the front elevation. As you can see, it looks similar to the front of the old station as it is now. I am so pleased we have this drawing though, because it shows us some detail that we didn't previously have. The barge board and wood detail on the outside of the station is really damaged. There's some parts that are completely gone, and we know we have to recreate them, but we didn't know what we needed to recreate until we had these plans. They are shown in some detail on this plan, but there's also a second plan that shows them in more detail. This second plan is all about the wood detail. It shows the barge board on the outside of the old station, and it shows the doors and windows. Let's look at the barge board first. You can see this wonderful curved design of the barge board, which is missing in some places. You can also see this finial on the apex of the roof. This is missing on all 4 roof sections. It's so fantastic we now have these drawings because it means we'll be able to recreate them. We're going to create this outside wood detail as close to the original as we possibly can. This second plan also shows the details of the front and back doors to the station. Currently there are PVC doors which aren't in keeping with the original building, and the top panes of glass above the doors have all been boarded up. What these drawings show us is that the original station would have had double doors at the front and the back of the building. These were made of wood and had 6 wooden panels. There was a glass pane above each door that matched the windows on either side. Now we know what these doors would have looked like. We can recreate them the way that they used to be. There's also one more thing I think I've spotted on these plans. This section of the plans is a cross section that would have been underneath the original canopy area of the old station. But before I get into this, I should probably dive back to plan 1, which shows the original canopy area. Back on plan 1, if we look at the platform elevation, you can see that there's a canopy area between the 2 sides of the building. The old photos we have show that the canopy stretched the entire building, but this must have been changed at some point because that wasn't in the original plans. We can see on the original plans that the canopy area only stretched between the 2 buildings. It didn't run the full length of the building, so this must have been added at a later date. If we zoom in on that platform elevation though, we can see that that canopy looks like it's made of glass. It may be very similar to the canopy in the photo, just a lot smaller. Jumping back to plan 2 and to that cross section that we could see, what you can see on this cross section is a swirly pattern. The plans don't say what this is, but it is under the canopy area, and most canopies were held up with metal supports that were quite ornate. This could be what the metal supports would have looked like. If they did look like this, there's none left now, but we do need some metal supports to hold up our current canopy area, so we could create something similar to this. Plan 3 shows more of the technical details for the timber and the joins within the building. This is the only structural drawing, keeping it simple but giving the information needed. Those plans are so amazing. They mean that we are going to be able to recreate the windows, recreate the doors, and all of the barge board and the detail on the wood on the outside of the building as it was when it was originally made, which we're really, really excited about. The thing we have to make a decision on now is the colour of all of those things. And there's been several different colours of the railway buildings over the years, but that will be another video when we look at colours, because that's a whole other decision. If you want to see more of how the old station would have originally looked, we're lucky enough to have Julian from Station Road building a model of the old station. Here's a sneak peek from his channel.
Right, so that's the roof sections attached and fixed into place, and you can really start to see how the roofline and profile works on this station. So the small bit of canopy that remained is this section here, and I think for some time it remained as glass, but I think eventually it then became slate tiles of some sort. And of course then later on it was just removed altogether, and then this roof actually carries on down in the current rendition of the station. But this is now what the external canopy may have actually looked like. So we'll head over to the layout. I'm going to place it on our temporary platform, and let's just see how this looks, and of course critically how the canopy is going to work in relation to passing trains. Right, so I've now got the station building down on the temporary platform, and I must admit, with the canopy now in place, it's certainly looking the part, and it's also slightly different in proportions to the first mock-up. So with those original plans that we managed to get hold of, it's made a huge difference. And of course also just adding a little bit of the stonework detail as well also gives a better idea of how the station is going to look. So starting from the street side, and one of the interesting things I noted is the canopy that runs down, or the lean-to that runs down over the main entrance into the station. I thought, gosh, that looks really long. It looks like it's protruding out quite a bit. But the interesting thing is, in the real building, it does. It's really quite an overhang for that section of roof. So that was actually worked out from the plan, so I just sort of managed to work out how far that protrudes out. Of course at the moment I don't actually have the supports in there, like I wasn't worried about adding those at this point. But looking at the canopy itself, I certainly think the proportions are actually quite good. I think they're quite close. I mean, it's going to be hard.
So that's Julian's build, which is going to show the station as it originally was, with the addition of the longer canopy area, which was added at a later date. I'll put a link to his channel at the end of this video. Gil is currently chainsawing the trees that came down in the storm that we had in the bridge garden, so I'm going to head over there and see how he's doing. what a piece of luck that we now have those old plans. There is so much to do in 2025 and I'm really excited for the building work to get started. Subscribe to us at the Old Station Renovation to see our journey.